Hi YouTube, one of my nice subscribers suggested that I might like to have a look at the blush tag that is on YouTube at the moment and perhaps do that. So that seemed like a very good suggestion. So here we go. I should say before I begin that it's a slightly odd tag for me to do as my very first tag on YouTube, because although I have quite a few blushes, as you can see, blush is probably my least favourite item of makeup in terms of collecting. I'm far more interested in eye shadows and foundations and highlighters. So that's not to say that I don't get tempted by blushes, and I do have quite a few, but it's not my kind of passion within makeup. Having said that, the first question on the tag is how many blushes do you own? And just counting up what I've got here in front of you, I have 17 true blushes. One of the Chanel blushes I haven't counted because it's more of a contour than a blush. And I have counted in my two NARS multiples because although they're multi-purpose products, I use them almost exclusively as blushes. So 17, which isn't too bad really, I don't think. What's my favourite blush brush is question number 2, and hands down it's the MAC blush brush, which as you can see is contoured, and just looking at the handle, I think it's the 163 or 168, can't really see too clearly. 168 is the number. So I like it because it's a relatively small but angled head, so it's just the perfect shape for getting your cheekbones without too much effort. And I tend to prefer powder blushes, so this is the one that is hands down my favourite. I do have a Real Techniques blush brush, which is this one, which I really like the texture of, and I do use it, but it's a little too big for me to handle the head very skillfully in applying blushes, so I would only use it with my less pigmented blushes where there's more room for making a mistake, as it were. And I ought to just mention as well that I do use a Duo Fibre Stipple brush from MAC for my cream shadows. So those are my blush brushes. Question number 3 is cream versus powder. Hands down powder. I find powder much easier to work with. I have in the past had a number of cream blushes, Bobbi Brown for example, pot rouges I've used quite a lot in the past. I suppose you could say that NARS multiples are cream blushes, but I think they're kind of in between. I do own 2 of the Chanel cream blushes, which look like this. I have them in shades Fantastic and Presage, which is a more corally orange colour. They are really nice and they're very long lasting. If you've seen them, you'll know that they are cream in the sense that they're slightly creamy to put on, very pigmented, but they dry to a powder very quickly on the skin, and I do find them quite hard to work with. The advantage is they are more long lasting than most of the powders. So I do have those cream blushes, but all the others that you see are powder, and powder is my favourite. I just find it much easier to work with. Peach versus pink. It's nice to have both, really, isn't it? Probably if I could only have one, it would be pink because that's more versatile. But overall, I mean, in summer and spring, really nice to have a peach. Favourite of each. Difficult, really, because I guess it changes from time to time. My all-time favourite blush is a Chanel, and of course I can't find it too easily. I'll take this one out because this is my favourite peach at the moment, although that might change. This is a relatively new one that I've just got from Chanel, and it's called Candy, and this is the American formulation, and it's a very glowy peach that I'm really enjoying at the moment. So that's my current favourite peach. But my favourite pink, oh, where are you? Where are you? I'm never going to get there. It's going to be the last one that I get to. Here it is. It's my all-time favourite blush, and it's Plum Attraction, and it's a very dark, cool-toned, plummy pink. I can tell you the story of this is that I got it by mistake. I actually got it off the website. I'd ordered, or thought I'd ordered, something else. Wouldn't have gone for this colour in a million years. It came, I was too lazy to send it back, and it's now far and away my favourite, most used blush. It's there on this middle finger, not showing up brilliantly in this light. All as I can say is it just suits my complexion. It's just a really nice bluey toned pink that works pretty much in any season with any kind of eye colour. So that's my all-time favourite. Drugstore versus high-end, and favourite brand of each. End of story. I don't have a single drugstore blush here. I have bought them from time to time, Bourjois, Revlon, Maybelline. They just don't cut the mustard for me. I think blush is one of those items where it's really worth spending for high end, because the pigmentation and lust is just heaps better. And whilst I'm quite happy to touch up my foundation, my concealer, certainly my lipstick during the day, I really don't want to be repeatedly applying blushes, and so to me it's worth it to get a high end. So I don't have a single drugstore blush in my collection. My favourite high end is Chanel. You can see that's the one that I've got the most of. I just like the consistency, I like the colours, I like the finish. They have reasonable lasting, not quite as good as Tom Ford, which I have one of here, but easier to work with. I like the smell, which is, you know, that faint rosy smell. Everything about them I like. I like the packaging, obviously. So far and away my favourite. Most overrated. I guess I would go for a colour here. NARS Orgasm is a really hyped colour, very, very popular, and I like it. I had a NARS Orgasm powder, which in fact I got rid of. It just didn't do it for me, but one of the multiples that I've got is NARS Orgasm, and that works much better. I do use it from time to time. My beef with Orgasm is it's said that it universally suits every colour tone and complexion, and I highly disagree. I think it looks positively garish on some people, and the powder certainly didn't work for me. I'm, you know, quite fair-skinned, so that would be my answer to the most overhyped. I'm not saying it's a bad blush. It's plainly not, and a lot of people like NARS powder blushes. I personally don't, but I just think it's overrated. Most underrated, well, in terms of not getting a huge amount of love on the internet, I would say Clarins, who do some really good blushes and powders. This is a slightly strange product in that it's a kind of mixed, it's called face and blush powder, so it is marketed as face and blush, but it's kind of, it looks like a bronzer contour with a couple of stripes of both coral and pink in, but it's a really versatile product. It gives, you know, quite a good colour pigmentation, lasts quite well, and I do use it quite a lot. I really like it. And they bring these out at least one each season, from what I can tell. Very similar products in different designs. So I think Clarins is one of the most underrated brands generally out there, and their blushes. Worth the hype? Probably I would say Tom Ford and Chanel to me. Top 5 blushes everyone must own. I couldn't say that to you, certainly not in terms of colour. I think it really is important for everyone to, first of all, find a consistency they like, but then a colour. I mean, I personally think everyone should own a Chanel blush if they, can save up and afford that. I would say it's really useful to have a multiple because they're just so easy to use. Tom Ford makes beautiful blushes, as you would expect, but they're hideously expensive. I have only one Burberry blush, which I use, in fact, although it's meant to be a blush, much more as a contour. And I really like the consistency, smell, packaging, colour of this one. And if I were kind of more into blushes, I would get more of that make. But it's one I would recommend people trying. People love MAC. I only have one MAC, and I kept it largely because it's the Marilyn collection, and I like the packaging. Although it's also, a really pretty peachy pink. You can just see there that I do wear in the summer quite a lot. So I would say those are the kind of brands I'd look at. But then you have to pick out the colour that works for you. And then finally, what blushes are on your wish list? Well, it's got to be the Hourglass Ambient blushes that are getting a lot of love on YouTube and blogs at the moment. I do have and like the Hourglass Ambient powder. I've got diffused light, and I rate it very highly. So I'd be quite interested in the blushes, but I can't justify buying one at the moment. I have got some points outstanding on my Space NK account, so I have to spend them before they run out soon, so that may be an option there. But certainly, yeah, apart from saying I'm bound to want to look at the next Chanel collection, because I do like their colours, I would say Ambient Hourglass blush is the one on my list. So this was quite fun to do. Let me know if you'd like to do more tags. Bye for now.